How do you actually grow and scale your MSP where it's not a guessing game where your next clients are coming from, how you're going to get employees, and really a clear vision of, hey, this is the path we need to go down, and how do we continue on that path aggressively at the rate that you want to grow? My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow from sales training to marketing, all the way even into some business operations, which we are going to be covering a little bit about that today. Before I get into it, I do want to mention two quick things. One, we do now have a channel sponsor. I want to say thank you so much to ESET. More to come on that later, but it is an incredible antivirus solution. They do some other really, really cool stuff as well. Number two, there are a ton of super helpful links down below, whether that's resources, super helpful videos, trainings, masterclasses, and even our sponsors link down in the video description and the podcast description. I would highly recommend scrolling down and checking those out. So let's just talk about growth, because ultimately you're watching this because you want to get to the next step. There's really no other reason why you would want to watch this. You want to take your MSP from wherever it is now to whatever you believe that next step is. And you might be at the $1,000 to $10,000. You might be at the $10,000 to $100,000. Heck, you might even just say, hey, I'm only doing $10 or $15 or $20,000 a year right now. I'd love to get it to that $40, $50, $60,000 and just 2x, whatever you are comfortable with. There's still a process that you need to go through in order to succeed. And this process is the same across every MSP. If you're thinking, this isn't the video for me, I promise you, this is 100% the video you need to watch. Now, the first thing that you have to actually do is assess your current state. I think a lot of us kind of get in this habit of we know where we are, but we never really take that step back and say, hey, really, where are we? What are we doing right now? Where are we? What are we doing? How are we doing it? And this goes into a lot of different areas. Now, one of the things that I do want to bring up here, and I'm going to share my screen, is there's two. There's a KPI and a SWAT analysis. We're going to start with the KPIs first. A KPI is a key performance indicators. All KPIs are metrics. All metrics are not KPIs, right? So you have to figure out what your KPIs, your key performance indicators, the things that you can measure that you are growing, whether that's the number of customers, your recurring revenue, your profit margins, maybe it's the tickets that you're closing. There's quite a bit that actually goes into this. But KPIs truly do give a holistic view on how you're really doing. And it's a very uncomfortable conversation when somebody asks, or especially when you guys reach out to me and say, hey, Harrison, I want to grow. And I say, okay, well, where are we at now? And I get the most generic answers ever. You have to have data. Companies like Amazon, companies like Dell, all of these giant companies, any company that's into the millions, I promise you has great data. And a lot of these go into KPIs and metrics, but more so that KPI is going to tell you exactly where you're standing, where your team's standing, where your organization's standing. It's just an incredible amount of information. Now, thankfully, a lot of the programs that you currently use already offer this, whether it's SuperOps, Synchro, it does not matter, Ninja, Halo, there's a lot out there that's going to be able to give you that data. And that's fantastic. That's the data that you actually want on top of your QuickBooks, your normal kind of standardized stuff, even your CRM solutions where it's showing your sales and your finances. Now, that's only one part. The other part that I talked about is a SWOT analysis, SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. And doing one of these, and typically people just draw a little box with 4 squares in there, and then they put an SWOT in all of them. But I wanted to share a nice little visual representation I found online, because even I do a SWOT analysis and measure my KPIs at least every 6 months. And some of the most successful MSPs that we've been fortunate enough to work with are doing this almost on a quarterly basis with their executive team. They draw it right up on a whiteboard. I'm on the wrong background for that, but right on the whiteboard, and they draw it SWOT. But things that your company are doing well, qualities that separate you from your competitors, right? What do you have? What are your internal strengths, your trainings, anything like that, your SOPs that are going to make you better, that give you that strength? On top of that, you got to take a hard look in the mirror. We talked about those KPIs, but what are your weaknesses? The weaknesses are just as important as your strengths because you have to know where you lack so you can get better or minimize those weaknesses. It is truly, truly important. And you don't have to get crazy with it. When you're drawing this thing out, you can simply go, and let me see if I can pull up a paint real quick. I'm going to use my handy dandy government secret drawing thing here, which is I use PicMonkey just because it's what I like. But I'm just going to do some quick stuff here. And you could 100% steal something just like this, where it just says SWOT, and then you're going to write the text, and you could just give your ideas, right? You can write down, our strength. I'm definitely spelling that wrong, but that's okay because I'm typing while I'm doing this. But our strength, right? And go through. We do XYZ, great. And go through this process and talk about it. Get ideas from not only you, but your team, maybe even your spouse, your partners in the business, whatever it might be. But go through that strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and then threats. So weaknesses are things that you're lacking in. Opportunities are underserved markets or specific products. There are, and that's why I tell people to niche, because there is so many markets. There's so many markets out there that truly are so underserved, and they need, I'm not even kidding you, they desperately need your help when it comes to this. And then threats, any emerging competitors. Obviously, there's always going to be competitors, but how do you differentiate yourself? Any press that's coming out, changing regulatory environments, whether that's HIPAA, FINRA, the list of the Alphabet Club goes on and on and on. But really, understanding this is truly, truly important. And then you have to start taking these and start doing things with that. And most of the time, that comes to building and scaling your business, which is probably why you're watching this. But you have to go through the trenches to be able to build. I think a lot of people kind of forget that is very, very important, that they have to go through that. Now, this comes in with investing in good technology. I have said and will always say, you need a great RMM and PSA tool, whether that's together, separate, however it is for your business. I would even recommend going through and doing an analysis on a bunch of them and seeing what you like. Currently, my favorite one is SuperOps. It's a fantastic program. There is a link down below for SuperOps, but this is an RMM and PSA tool. You're also going to need something to keep track of your finances, your deals, your opportunities. I love Go High Level. There are tons of other platforms out there, whether that is, and a new one that I shouldn't say recently heard of, but you have Glass Hive, you have HubSpot, you have Salesforce, Pipedrive, Keep, Zoho, One, Act. There are so many out there. Just pick one. Try to do a little bit of an analysis. You're going to go crazy looking at every single one. And then on top of that, you're going to need something that you can standardize across every single customer. Now, obviously, you're going to be standardizing your service for the most part across. I always recommend 3 different tiers, but you're going to need other services as well. And that brings us to the sponsor of this channel and this specific video. ESET is a fantastic antivirus solution. And not only do they do that, but they do so much more. I literally cannot stress it. Now, if you're a longtime subscriber and viewer of the channel, you already know, I've already mentioned ESET hundreds of times. And full transparency, I wouldn't have worked with them if I didn't reach out to them first. If you've watched a ton of my old videos, you already know I have mentioned their name 1,000 times. I couldn't be more honored to be working with them. And I'm going to be doing a full analysis of their software in the very near future. But they work specifically with MSPs. And I think that that's one of the coolest parts about it. You could go through, you could work with them. They work specifically with MSPs. They can take care of, and they take care of hundreds, and I'm probably undershooting this. I would actually probably venture to say it's in the millions of computers protected, but they have tons of flexibility. They are showing fantastic profits, and they're only growing, and it also helps you make more money as well. And then solutions. You can roll out solutions for just about every industry in there. Now, if you're anything like me and you like a single pane of glass, their software is a single pane of glass. So you can manage a ton of your clients all from one environment. And it is truly, truly, truly a fantastic software. I'm super happy that they finally decided to work with us here, but they integrate with already all of the tools that you love and know already, whether it's ConnectWise, Atera, SuperOps, the whole list, Datto, Ninja, and Able, whatever it is that you like. And they do quite a bit. They do that threat hunting that most people want, that endpoint defense, which is arguably the most important thing. You have that automated responses, the forensic analysis, advanced machine learning, and ransomware shields. And they have been a growing company. This is the software that I grew up on, and I have truly been following them for years. And I'm beyond excited that they decided to sponsor us and help us grow. And they have plans to fit everyone's needs and everyone's budget, whether or not you want the console. Obviously, that comes standard across the board, but then you can have cloud app protection, mail server security, and even more. If you're interested in learning more about ESET, check out the links down below. But I truly do mean that. You need tools that can scale with you. If you really want to turn your MSP into a multi-million-dollar business, you have to have tools that scale. If you don't have tools that scale, it is going to be very challenging for you when it comes to growth. Like I said, many longtime subscribers already know that I truly love ESET. But guess what every single computer is going to get that you do work with? It's going to get your agent with your RMM and PSA tool, and it has to have antivirus. That is like not putting oil in your car. It's a mandatory, unless you drive a Tesla or an electric vehicle, you have to have oil in the car. Or if you drive an electric vehicle, you got to have electric in the car in order to make it run and power in the car. And on top of that, not only do you have to have tools that can scale, but you also have to be able to create documentation. Show your team. Otherwise, you're going to keep coming back over and over to that SWAT analysis, and you're going to say, hey, our weaknesses are documentation. This should be hopefully a one and done type thing. If you're sitting there and saying, hey, you know what? We really stink at documenting, and we really stink at documenting, and we really stink at documenting. Save these. You can save these, print them out, hang them up on the wall, wherever it might be, and you're going to start to see a trend over the next couple years saying, hey, we really stink at one thing, or we are really good at another. Whatever it actually is that you see, it has to be done. And in today's day and age, and I'm not saying this because ESET sponsoring the video, but cybersecurity is crazy important. Every single conversation I have friends that own the Chick-fil-A in my town, to businesses, and I have thousands and thousands of contacts, whether it's in the security industry, the accounting firms, lawyers. I mean, the list goes on. Even my friends that own a pest control company, it is the number one thing they all say is we are worried about cyber security. I'm not saying you need to be an MSSP, but what I am saying is it's not something you want to sleep on. And the last thing that you want to have is cybersecurity and antivirus in that weakness column. Check out ESET. I promise you it is worth your time in checking it out and going through that. Now, you're probably thinking, Harrison, what else? Because those things are going to get me to a certain place, but it's not going to get me as far as I want to go. Now, you're going to have to do two things to really get to the size that you might want to get to. And that's that $1 million mark after you've provided some incredible stuff. You're going to standardize all of your processes. You're going to have that all documented, which is super important. But after that, you're going to start to diversify. When I talk to MSPs, the first thing I tell them to do is pick a niche. At some point or another, you're going to need to have more potential customers. And that's the time when you want to start adding 2 or 3 niches and just adding them slowly. You want to come up with a solution, a scalable solution that works. You want to standardize that solution, and then you want to roll it out to a ton of new businesses. And that is the real secret sauce to growing. You want to be able to diversify your services to different businesses so they can truly have an incredible experience. And then last but not least, at some point down the road, I always recommend doing it earlier than later, but you want to develop strategic partnerships. Find low voltage cabling companies, find security companies, find digital marketers in your area whomever it is that you can partner up. Find even bigger MSPs that don't want the little guys. You'll take them when you're starting out. And if you're a bigger company, find somebody that you can send off to, because you never know. They might have an incredible experience with somebody that you referred them to because they didn't meet your standards, and maybe they want to come back to you when they get bigger. There's so much opportunity actually out there for you to grow your MSP. And the last thing that I think most MSPs, and I shouldn't say most, almost every MSP lacks on, is getting some kind of training and mentoring. I talk about it all of the time. Whether you decide to go through our trainings or mentoring programs, or you go through somebody else's, but truly, truly, truly having a mentor is incredibly important. If you want to go through our programs, you can go to our website, growth-generators.com, go to our programs, and you can go through the MSP Sales Pro Blueprint. It is fantastic for learning sales, but you shouldn't just be learning sales. You should be learning marketing. You should be learning anything from business operations to basic accounting. Truly, some of the craziest hangups for MSPs is they just stop learning. They're so focused in the tech, they're working in the business than working on the business. And yes, both sides of it take knowledge and take learning, but you can't learn every single thing that you want to learn from this YouTube channel or even other YouTube channels. You're going to have to go break out of your shell, take training courses, sit down with your accountant, learn the basics of accounting. Is it going to be adrenaline pumping? Maybe for some. For others, it might be a little tough, but truly investing in your education and your growth of not just you as the business owner or you as whatever role that you play at the company, but the entire team. The entire team should be learning constantly to get better, and not in a way that it's just about the certifications. It truly pays to educate your team, to help them grow, to help them become better. It's only going to help your business grow and scale over time to truly be the MSP that it really wants. And these are my strategies for sustainable growth. Every single one of my friends that owns $1 million+ company follows every single one of these to a T. Maybe nothing, maybe not exactly, but for the most part, they're investing that time in education. They're investing their time in getting the right tools. They're investing their time in learning more about cybersecurity because it's the most important topic as of late, and probably will be, especially with AI, for a very, very long time. But if you want to get to that X amount of millions of dollars, heck, even if you want to stay at the $500,000 mark, that's fine. All of these principles still apply to help you get from 0 to 1. Bring it back to that good old binary. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a long one. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, that subscribe button, notification bell. Thank you so much to ESET for sponsoring today's video. I truly, truly appreciate it. Their link will be down in the video description and the podcast description. And other than that, I hope you guys have a banger rest of the day. Take care. Love you guys as always. I'll see you guys in the next one.